process can be done, and that is the story of Rani Therapeutics. So take it away, Mir.
Thank you. You know, so of all the crazy things I've done in my life, this is probably the hardest, most difficult project for a variety of reasons. So this whole thing started with a very casual chance conversation with a senior executive from Eli Lilly who was visiting me. Some of you may know John Lecleiter. He was the former head of Lilly. And I asked him what he came there for, and he said, you know, there was some board meeting, and there was a company they had invested a lot of money in to convert a peptide, I think it was parathyroid hormone, to an oral formulation. And it failed. They were shutting down the company. So my first question was, do they have equipment for sale? And the second question was, why did they fail? And he said, well, we had very low expectations because, and I had never thought about oral delivery of biologics. So then I found out through research that there have been 150 separate attempts. Somebody has taken the trouble to count them over the last 50 years, only focused on insulin, parathyroid hormone, and a couple of other short peptides. 150 attempts. Bioavailability in those cases, in best cases, were 1% or less, 0.5%, 0.1%. So I thought about it, and I said, well, we know that injections work. And I also remembered from the GI tract physiology that you don't have sharp pain receptors, the kind of sensory receptors you have in the skin. So I said, why can't we make a pill that you swallow and goes into the intestine, transforms itself into an injection, and delivers a pain-free injection?
Piece of cake, right?
Piece of cake. Is there a video that is lined up? So it's a 1-minute video that you can.
Okay, and there we go.
Rani Therapeutics, an InCube Labs company, has created a novel approach for the delivery of biologics orally. In this video, we will demonstrate how the RaniPill, our oral delivery platform, works. Here you see a patient swallowing what appears to be a standard capsule. The capsule has a special enteric coating that protects it from the acidic environment in the stomach. When the capsule encounters the higher pH levels found in the small intestine, the enteric coating and outer shell of the capsule dissolve, exposing the delivery mechanism to intestinal fluid. The mechanism has a self-inflating balloon that contains 2 reactants separated by a dissolvable valve. Exposure to intestinal fluid dissolves the valve, allowing the reactants to mix, creating carbon dioxide. This inflates the balloon and creates the pressure needed to inject a dissolvable microneedle containing the drug or sensor into the intestinal wall. The intestinal injection is pain-free, as the intestines have no sharp pain receptors. The balloon then deflates and is safely passed out. In the case of drug delivery, the drug is quickly absorbed by the highly vascularized intestinal wall. A daily pill as an alternative to an injection is expected to have a very positive impact on patient compliance. Compliance is further enhanced by a digital wireless compliance monitoring system incorporated into the RaniPill. The RaniPill contains a tiny wireless sensor that is activated once the needle is delivered. Upon delivery, a radio transmitter embedded in the microsyringe emits a signal to an external receiver. An app on the patient's cell phone records the date and time of drug delivery and transmits this information to a cloud-based database. If a patient forgets to take the RaniPill, the smartphone app sends a reminder message to the patient, which can further improve compliance. During clinical trials, knowing the exact time of drug delivery is very helpful in pharmacokinetics studies with short half-life drugs. In addition, the data from all the patient's cell phones will be collated via the cloud by the CRO. Rani wireless monitoring can also be used in post-market.
Voila.
Thank you. So you can see it's a 25-cent cost of goods or less piece of plastic, some Alka-Seltzer-like chemicals that inflate the balloon, and the balloon lines it up to the intestine and delivers a pain-free injection. And we have conducted 2 clinical studies, one with octreotide somatostatin and the other one with parathyroid hormone. And we are embarking on Humira and many other antibody drugs. We can deliver 100% of the biologic drugs that are out there. And a number of pharma companies, of course, are after us also. But we have taken 5 or 6 of the drugs that are off patent and created our internal pipeline. So we are developing our own drugs, and we'll, of course, work with pharma companies. So, you know, it looks simple, and conceptually it is simple, but it was every step of the way we had to, you know, the needle made out of sugar. How many of you have made injection molded a sugar needle? It turns into caramel. And so it really, everything was difficult. The shape of the balloon. How do you make the balloon so that it works in every size intestine, not just a particular size? So that took a few years. How do you create a coating, enteric coating, that completely seals it off? Not even a little bit of moisture gets in. We had to come up with new formulations of coatings. So it was one challenge after another. 300 patents in this young company. I think we're on a path to, hopefully, to success. Still a lot of work to be done, but we now are really getting into clinical trials, manufacturing scale-up. So I'm super excited about this. It'll help millions of people, tens of millions of people. And it is the hardest thing I've done. I was telling Paul that I just want to retire after this. So
that'll be a cold day. So who would have invested in the idea of Rani Therapeutics? So we're going to take this pill. It's got a coating. The coating's going to dissolve. We got needles made of sugar. We got a balloon that pops open when an Alka-Seltzer tablet fizzes. Like, that sounds like the worst investment possible. How did you raise money for this, other than your own?
You know, we were the first. My fund was the first investor. Then Google got wind of it, and Google came in as the Series B investor, and then we brought in some pharma partners came in, Novartis, AstraZeneca, Shire. So, and then a number of family offices from China and South America. So it was not a single venture capitalist, because you're right, nobody in their right mind would invest in it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's almost sort of Rube Goldberg-ish, except it's brilliant in the sequence and the pathways. And for the non-physicians in the audience, you know, there's just an enormous difference between being able to take a pill in the morning and somehow trying to figure out how to have someone stab you in the arm with a needle. It's
So one of the biggest challenges was knowing what is the size of the human intestine. So you talk to GI docs, they'll tell you, oh, it's approximately this much. And I said, well, what's the range? Nobody knows. Nobody had to know. There was no need to know that. So I made a deal with the CEO of Sutter Health, and they do about 400 or 500 organ transplants. And I said, I want to buy the intestines. You're not transplanting those. So we started getting human intestines, freshly harvested, and we hired a pathologist on staff, and her job was to meticulously section every 10, 15 centimeters. So we created a database of human intestinal anatomy uh, and it was quite revealing, and that really helped us create a device that would work across the whole spectrum of sizes. So that alone, what I just described, took 2 or 3 years of effort to not only collect the data, but make sense of it and then develop the solution. So, not easy.
No, sounds really hard to me. I think if a biodesign kid had come up with this, we'd have probably told him to go do something a little easier. But that's the beauty of, blue sky kind of thing and a lifetime of experience. So Mir, how do you think about that challenge of now you got this thing and you got multiple competing companies, all of whom want to use it, and do you want to stay Switzerland or do you want to capitulate to the highest bidder? Or how do you think about that?
Well, there are approximately 100 biologic drugs out there.
Uh-huh.
And so we're in conversations right now about specific drugs or sometimes specific targets. So no one company has all the drugs. So I think we're going to end up with multiple partners, potentially.
Nice, nice, nice. This has been a spectacular tiptoe through a 40-year career of remarkable contributions in medtech development. It's just so many great insights, and I've been privileged to spend some time kind of prepping for this. But the creative ingenuity, like the story you just heard, or all of the stories with these life-saving consequences for millions of patients, is just truly unbelievable. And I think everyone in the audience and every one of your colleagues and friends in the Valley, see you as one of the inhabitants of the Mount Olympus of medtech inventors and innovators. And we're so grateful for your contributions and for your teaching and your presence here today. Mir, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have, so every year we have a Fogarty Eagle Award. So there are only 24 of these on the planet, so don't drop it or don't